he's got the Homelessness Reduction Bill has been passed in the Commons, and it's holding out the possibility of finally something being done to make a difference for those who are homeless, and especially for those perhaps who are rough sleepers. It's an issue that needs to be addressed, and indeed the sort of proposed mayor, or one of the candidates for mayor in Manchester, has said this is an issue that needs to be addressed, although not by putting down homelessness spikes. Well, what is our attitude towards those who are homeless? Do we care enough? Does our care translate into action? Well, somebody for whom it does and has for a good number of years now is Pastor Pete Cunningham. He is the driving force behind greenpastures.net, an incredible initiative spending an awful lot of money, making an awful lot of difference for homeless people across the country. And Pete is on the line with me today. Pete, welcome back to UCB.
Thank you, Paul. Always nice to talk to you.
Can we talk for a moment, before we start to talk about the issues of the bill and the opportunities perhaps that it might bring, can we talk for a bit about our attitude towards the homeless? Because there does seem to be a negative press towards the homeless, and things like these spikes that people think it's okay to put down to stop rough sleepers sleeping in doorways or shop fronts or on park benches, as we've been hearing this morning. I mean, that's sending out a very negative message, isn't it?
Well, it is, there's no doubt about it. And across the country as I travel, I see these in most of our major cities. And it does appear that commercial landlords are trying to move the problems on from their own properties. And so, of course, you've got a proliferation of these bumps and spikes and obstacles to stop people having somewhere which is perhaps a little more sheltered than a doorway.
Yes. And you can understand, I suppose, on one level that if you run a business and people are arriving early doors to come into your business, if you've got a rough sleeper lying across your shop front, that's not necessarily sending the image that you want to send.
No, it isn't. But perhaps if they wanted to move them on, it might be a good thing to note it to some of the shelters so that there was more space in shelters to house these people. But it doesn't seem to be coming that way. Perhaps we should start a policy of getting commercials to put their hands in the pocket and help the poor.
Yeah, it sounds like a reasonable thing, and it surprises me not at all that you would suggest it. And the government, however, is trying to do something about homelessness, isn't it? And this Homelessness Reduction Bill has been much trumpeted as providing some meaningful answers to the issues of homelessness. I wonder if you think it does.
Paul, for a private member's bill getting through the House of Commons as it has done is almost a miracle. I think that what has happened here is one of the best pieces of legislation we've seen for a long time. What it does do, it says to local authorities that when someone presents themselves as homeless, the council also have a duty of care for them and to look after them. So it does give the church an amazing opportunity to work with local authorities in housing more single people than we've done before.
And will it make a real difference, though? Will it actually I mean, I know that you've just started a campaign to make things, to change things in Merseyside. And actually your campaign is let's see Merseyside clear of homelessness, not just rough sleepers, but people who are being forced to live in B&Bs and so on. I mean, it's a big image, big vision. Do you think councils will be able to get on board with similar visions for their locale?
I'm chuckling, Paul, because I only started that this month and I didn't know it was quite out of the bag. You're very well informed. But you have a variety of councils. There's over 300 local authorities, good, bad and indifferent. We've been dealing most really 60 or 70 of them during the course of the last year. And I think they're going to find it difficult to find resources to fulfill the purpose of this legislation. But I think there is an opportunity for the church, like you said. We're looking over the next 10 years of ending homelessness in Greater Merseyside. I think if the church gets on board with this, the funds are there for us to be able to get the properties that we need, and to actually begin to make a difference and to work in harmony with local councils, which the church has not been able to do for perhaps the last 50 years.
Yeah, because that is the issue with this, isn't it? That whether it be rough sleepers or whether it be families who have been made homeless, people that are living in B&Bs, a lot of the claim from councils is we simply do not have the properties to put people in. We can't do it anymore. But there's changes afoot on that as well, isn't there?
Well, there is. The government are talking about putting more money in to help first-time buyers as well as to help people that need rented accommodation. But these things are not sort of fait accompli. It still boils down to, is the budget there? Can they afford to do it? And at this moment in time, I think that the next 20 years we're going to have similar problems. But like I say, I do think because of the churches we work with and provide housing for those churches, if the church really gets on board with this, there is an opportunity. What do we say? Windows of opportunity. I think it's a window of opportunity for the church to make a difference.
And you mentioned to me that there are some changes afoot with taxation, and as a result, private landlords are starting to step away from the business. That's going to provide the opportunity to get hold of properties that do the sort of thing that you guys do.
Yeah, we this first part of the year, or in the last 7 weeks, we've spent about $1.5 million on buying properties that were going out of the rental market and could have dropped into the pockets of developers. So in certain areas we are looking at this, but certainly there's going to be an increasing number of buy-to-let properties coming on the market because of the taxation that has been imposed. So buy-to-let landlords are moving their money out of residential and into commercial, like the small high street shops that have become empty and now are much more cost-effective to buy and produce an income. I hope I was clear on that.
Yeah, so that then gives the opportunity for schemes like Green Pastures to actually get hold of properties to create homes for people that are in need of homes. Do you think we are too tolerant of homelessness in our society? Are we too ambivalent about it?
Well, I do, because the thing is, I don't think we see it as priority. But certainly, I mean, this last year, we would say most probably 1,000 people came to know the Lord Jesus through our ministry. We think that's pretty good. But the wonderful thing is the lives have been changed because certain churches have actually taken up the challenge in their area and begun to end homelessness in their particular town centres or where they are. So it does prove that if we take on, even if every church in the country took on one house, which would be 40,000 houses, we begin to make a dent in the problem.
Yes, and a real difference can be made, and perhaps communities can, as you've set your vision for Merseyside, be changed for the better. If you want to find out more about what Pastor Pete is doing, greenpastures.net. If you want to find out what Pastor Pete's organisation can do to help you address homelessness in your community, well, greenpastures.net. And if you want to find out about his vision for Merseyside and his vision for what can be done there, all you got to do is search for him on the YouTube. Yes, search for Pastor Peter Cunningham, Changing Merseyside for the Better. Have a look at it on YouTube for yourself. Pastor P, always a pleasure. Thanks for coming on.
Paul, it's always good to talk to you. Have a great day.